breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Under One Roof MTL, where we are demystifying home ownership 1 week at a time. My name is Robin Flynn, joined as always in studio by Fred Pichette and Martin Spalding of Fred and Martin Mortgages. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Robin.
Robin, explain something to me.
Happily.
What is going on?
With what?
Yesterday, I was at the market wearing shorts and a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I was on Facebook, Instagram, looking at all my friends up at Tremblant, enjoying the last day of spring skiing, plus 20, beers galore. Everyone's having a great time. I wake up this morning, and it's almost like snowing outside.
It was a little bit. There were some flurries
What
falling.
What the? Explain that to me, Robin Flynn, please.
Spring in Montreal, it's normal. This happens every year, doesn't it?
Mic drop.
Actually, one good thing, though.
Yes.
The cold weather. So, obviously, there's a lot of concern about the flood-prone areas, Vaudreuil, Ile-Perrot. Hopefully, the cool weather will slow down the snowmelt.
Yep.
And hopefully, those areas will dodge the floods that they were expecting.
Yep. LJ Aguinaga of LJ Realties, did you take advantage of the beautiful weather? Friday and Saturday were absolutely gorgeous.
It was spectacular. I went for a couple of walks with the family. It was beautiful.
I played hooky on Friday, midday, took a couple hours off work, went and met a friend for coffee. It was delightful.
When you work for yourself, you're not playing hooky.
Well, yeah. I ended up having to work that night because you still have to get your work done.
And let me check. It is Sunday and you're working.
Yeah, I work usually 7 days a week.
There you go.
As do you guys, I'm sure. That's just normal. Let's get to our question of the week. We'll give away some cookies from Felix and Norton. How does that sound? You can visit their store at the Blue Haven Shopping Center, 3705 St. John's Boulevard in DDO. The first person to text in the correct response to 514-790-0800 will receive cookies from Felix and Norton delivered straight to their door. Our question this week, what is a mortgage renewal? 514-790-0800, and please include your name.
These questions just getting easier and easier and easier.
I think it's just that we've been doing this for so long, I'm running out of questions.
Okay, I got you.
I've asked everybody everything at this point.
Reasonable.
We'll give you a good one for next week.
Please do. I appreciate input. If you have suggestions for the question, please let me know. But if you suggest a question, then you can't play, because then you know the answer. That wouldn't be fair. Okay, what is in the news this week? There was a big one late this week, guys, that is great news for anybody who is buying their first home right now. Quebec is going to reimburse the welcome tax for first-time home buyers. How much money is this going to save the average home buyer? LJ, what's the average cost of a home right now in Montreal, give or take?
600 and change.
So what percentage of that is usually the welcome tax?
But the article said it was capped at $5,875, which is still a windfall for anyone who's buying a first house. And Fred and I were just talking about it off air. We just got a final approval on a mortgage for a first-time home buyer, and I sent her the article Saturday morning, and she says, "Thank you so much." The timing could have been more perfect for her. And also, if you read the article, it's retroactive to Jan 1, 2026.
Ooh.
So clearly, we're in an election year, and the CAC are going to do a lot to reinstate themselves for October 2026.
Yeah, but we're not going to complain. It's a gift for first-time home buyers.
Absolutely.
And when you buy your first home, you need help. You know?
And closing is expensive. Like, what percentage of your purchase price should you allot for closing costs?
Well, they say 1.5%, but the welcome tax is actually 0.8 of a point. So if you do the math quickly, so for the client that we pre-qualified or we qualified on Friday, she's well within that $5,875, so she'll get a complete reimbursement on her welcome tax payment.
So how does that work? I want to understand, do you still have to pay the welcome tax and then you get it back? There's a reimbursement from the Quebec government. You still pay to the municipality?
So they're doing a tax credit, exactly. So you're going to get the bill, you're going to pay it like normal, and then when you do file your taxes at the end of next year, April 2027, there's going to be a credit in your favor to get the funds back.
Okay.
But for a lot of people, it's a game changer.
Yeah, and it's capped for a purchase of $750.
Okay.
To get the $5,000, and it's a maximum up to $1 million.
Okay.
So I wasn't clear. Is this an announcement or is this set?
It's set.
I believe it's set.
Okay,
Yes.
it's set. Good.
So
Well, we should track that. We'll just make sure.
We'll pay attention to what's going on and what
Exactly.
happens, because if you're looking at the polls, I don't think the CAQ is going to form the next government. A lot can happen between now and the fall, of course, but they're not even in the running at this point.
Well, the Liberals are nowhere, and it was the Parti Québécois, and now the Liberals are neck and neck, and you just never know. You know, it's a long 6 months, and we'll see what our new premier, Madame Frechette, does within those 6 months. I think there'll be a lot of gift giving.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens come October.
I always like to point out, I remember very clearly, I was filling in for Elias Makos once here in December of 2024, and I was speaking to someone from the National Post about the Liberals' chances. I'm like, what if Justin Trudeau steps down and they find a new leader and he gets really popular? Can the Liberals form government? No chance. There is no chance the Liberals will form government.
Last I checked, last Monday, they formed a majority government.
Yeah, 3 months after that conversation, Mark Carney became Prime Minister of Canada. Right. So you never know what can happen in a short amount of time. So we shall see. One good debate and all could change.
But a big windfall for first-time home buyers.
Yeah, great, fantastic news. Okay, let's also talk about some of the volatility that we are seeing right now. It's sort of complicating.
Is something going on that we should know about?
There is somebody in charge somewhere in this world who's making crazy decisions that are impacting the global economy, shall we say? And that has a huge impact on what is going on. So that volatility, the wars that we're seeing in the Middle East, in Ukraine, oil prices, everything, inflation, the fixed and variable rate question is more important than ever, I think, at this point. What do? Do you go fixed or variable?
Well,
it is a tough decision.
Fred and I have the debate every day because I'm the fixed guy. I'm more conservative, Scottish accountant as a father, and Fred grew up as an entrepreneur. Yeah. He's always been the variable guy.
Exactly.
So what are we doing? Who wins? Who wins this debate?
Well, the trend lately, it's variable, to be quite honest. And the difference between the variable and the fixed rate, it's 0.50, which is a lot, you know?
It's significant right now.
Exactly. And on a $400,000 mortgage, it could be a difference of $180 per month. Now, variable is not for everyone. If you're on a tight budget, maybe it's not for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, it works, you know, how we've been in the variable for the last 20 years. And obviously during COVID and from 2022, it wasn't that great. Obviously, the Bank of Canada increased 10 times the overnight rate. But right now, at the moment, to answer your question, I think it's a great timing for that.
You want to hear something funny?
I always do.
Variable rates right now are relatively stable.
Yeah.
And fixed rates are the ones that are showing some instability.
Yep.
Because of the bond market. We talk about it over and over again, but the bond market is really choppy right now. There's no clear direction. We saw it go up, but we saw it come back down. But what we've been seeing in our practice is fixed rates going up.
Yep.
We're, about a month ago, we were in the mid to high threes. Now we're in the low to high fours.
Wow.
And it's not good. And you know what? And I want to hear LJ, because I was reading another article where property values are staying exactly where they are, but interest rates are going up. And we know that 85% of the population signed for 5-year fixed rate mortgages amortized over 25 years. And now all of a sudden we're starting to see people getting off the ice surface. I'm making an analogy because Robin's wearing her Canadians t-shirt today.
Go Habs,
go Habs.
Game one.
And a lot of people are now getting back into the stands, back on the bench, going, I was committed, I wanted to go, and now I'm less certain about it all.
I'm in a Facebook group for moms, like most moms are, and somebody had posted this weekend, what interest rate are you at for your mortgage right now? So I grabbed my popcorn to read the comments because I was excited, and people were going back and forth, this interest rate, and then I saw a mortgage broker pop in and say, well, it's not all about the interest rate. You have to pay attention to the conditions.
Was that Fred?
Fred's in my mommy group on Facebook.
Exactly.
But I was so excited that somebody jumped in, but then the original poster got really angry like that. I wasn't asking about conditions. I was just asking about interest rates. People really only care about their rate, and they shouldn't.
Yeah, they don't read the whole document.
Yeah, exactly. Why. Not really, Robin. A lot of people are more knowledgeable now than before.
Yeah.
And 0.05 or 0.10 on a rate doesn't make a huge difference.
Yeah.
You really have to read the fine print. Yeah.
So coming back to my question to LJ, do you feel that the market is slowing down a little bit?
I wouldn't say it's slowing down, to be honest. We're seeing a very interesting market. Since the beginning of the year, January, February is a little bit slower, and we see it in the statistics. Sales volume is down a little bit, but pricing is up, and time on market is down. So good products are moving faster and for more money. Products that are not turnkey and need a bit more work or just not priced right are simply sitting on the market and just not trading is the reality of it. So multiplexes and single-family homes are really leading the charge in terms of increasing the prices. I believe it was 6% for single-family homes and 8% increase for multiplexes. That's 2 to 4 units, and multiplexes 18 days lower in terms of days on market comparatively to Q1 2025. So we're really seeing a lot of traction on there. And even though condos have not been great, they were still pretty flatline. They increased their sale price by about 1% on average compared to last year.
So if you decide to move on a multiplex, you buy one of these duplexes, triplexes, would you call it a quadroplex? I guess you just become quadplex. Yeah, once you get into that territory, you need some help. You don't want to be going around knocking on doors, collecting rent. You don't want a 2 a.m. phone call because a pipe burst. Let somebody else handle it. Give the Plex Doctor a call, 514-709-6397. You can visit their website at plexdr.com. This is Under One Roof MTL on CJD 800. I'm Robin. That's Fred. That's Martin. That is LJ. We're with you until 1 p.m. Should you buy now or should you wait? We discussed market volatility, but we also discussed that there is a new tax credit for first-time home buyers. You get your welcome tax back. Maybe that won't be around a year or two from now. Should you maybe take advantage of that? Who knows? LJ, I'm sure people are coming to you all the time saying, LJ, what do I do? Do I buy now? Do I wait a little bit? Do I try and time the market?
All I knew is going to come out. It's not about timing the market. It's time in the market.
Exactly. So I think a lot of buyers are sort of asking themselves the same questions right now. Should I buy now or should I wait? What are the factors that people should actually be evaluating before they make their decision?
Are you ready to buy? First question. Do you have the down payment available? Is your credit lined up? Do you have the income to support the purchase? Do you have a rainy day fund in case things go awry? We see unemployment on the rise. We see a lot of different things happening. Are you in a comfortable position in order to make this purchase? Are you making a purchase simply because it's the cool thing that everyone's talking about, or because you actually think you're going to want to live in this next home for the next 5+ years? You see yourself being in a place that you want to be, whether it's school zones, parks, activities, community centers, whatever it might be. Is it putting you closer to your work? Is it putting you closer to your kids' schools? Is it putting you closer to, like I said, the community that you're looking to be a part of? The real question is, are you ready, and do you want to make this long-term decision? Because I think buying a home is an incredible investment. It's a great asset. There's a lot of good that comes along with it, but you need to be ready for it. And should you buy now or wait, it has nothing to do with what I think or everything going on in the world. It's really got a lot more to do with yourself. Are you ready to buy now? Are you ready to make this commitment and jump into it? Because rates go up. We've seen rates go to 2%. We've seen them go to 6.5%. The reality is we can always refinance, take a variable now, wait, change that. Like, there's a lot of options to go on that front. Montreal has been a very insulated market in terms of when we saw the great correction of 2022, prices only dropped 10% for about 2 months, and then they bounced right back. Yeah. So again, time in the market, obviously. We're never going to try to time the market. However, the question has a lot more to do with yourself than anything I can tell you.
Question.
There's so much noise out there.
Yes.
That it can create what's called analysis paralysis.
Oof.
And there's nothing more permanent than a temporary situation. So you say, you know what, next month, next year, and then 5 years go by and you're still renting. So at one point, you just got to push everything aside and go for it.
You brought up a rainy day fund, LJ, and I love that you brought this up because I actually had this conversation with a group of friends recently. How much do you consider enough in your rainy day fund? Because I had one friend who said, as long as I've got a month's worth of living expenses, that's enough for me. Where to me, that feels very, very low. I'd like to have 3 to 6 months, but I'm curious. Let's go around the room. What would you consider a decent rainy day fund?
I would say 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months?
Yeah. He's going to tell you a year.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a year guy.
I had a financial advisor at the studio recently who was telling a story about one of his clients who wanted to, at all times, have 2 years of living expenses in his savings account. This financial advisor was freaking out because he wanted him to invest that money. But
So when I say a year, I don't have it in liquidity. Right. But I've got it invested that I can liquefy it.
Access.
But I think you should have at least 3 months of mortgage payment,
Okay.
as a saving, like minimum.
Okay, well, that's important to know because you should sort of factor that in when you're saving your money for your down payment. Your closing costs should help you when you're getting your welcome tax back. You've got some of that.
Well, that's it, first-time home buyer.
Exactly.
Because the worst thing you should do is if you don't have a rainy day fund, start loading your credit cards. Yeah. And that's a slippery slope because there's a point of no return and you end up just paying interest over interest over interest over interest. And if you get yourself into that situation and there's a little bit of equity in your home, call us and we'll refinance your house.
Are there any situations where waiting actually would make sense? Let's say somebody does have their down payment saved up. They've got their rainy day fund. They think, yeah, I think I'm ready to purchase a home, but I want to wait. Would that make sense in some cases? Maybe they're not sure if they're going to get married or have a baby. Maybe in that case, it might make sense.
Again, I always tell people, whenever we're looking to buy a property, you have to see yourself in this property for the next 5 years. So if you see yourself or your life changing materially in the next year because you're planning on having a child, whether either we start looking for a property that will meet that criteria, so have the additional bedrooms, the additional space, or if you think you're going to be changing jobs, you might go, I don't know, from downtown to the West Island or the South Shore, that's going to have a large impact on you as well. So if we're not ready to invest in a property that you're willing to live in or at least keep as a rental for a minimum of 5-year period, I tell people don't buy. Wait. Sit on the sidelines, rent, invest the money, do something else. But between closing costs, potential capital gains tax, if it isn't for your principal residence, all these other impacts, if you're holding it for less than 5 years' time, we just haven't given the market enough time to really appreciate and protect your investment. And again, there's been certain times during the COVID market where 1 year you could make a crazy profit, roll it into the next one, and off we go. But that's not sustainable, and that's why I always say 5 years is the ideal, minimum 3 years, but really aiming for 5 years protects us, and it aligns with your typical first 5-year term of a mortgage as well.
So the counter to that is don't wait to buy your dream home. Get in the market, start building equity. And yes, I agree. Between 5 and 7 years, so you can amortize the costs of buying your first property, and then use the equity that you've built over those 5 or 7 years to move into the next home, the next home, the next home, till you finally get to your dream home. If you can afford to buy your dream home as your first home, then you're better off than most of us.
Yeah.
But the important thing is to get in the market, because if you wait 5 years to buy your dream home, you've paid rent for 5 years when you could be paying down your mortgage for 5 years and building equity.
I was about to say, are you fed up paying rent? It came to a point you have to put chance on your side to make your first
And it's not
purchase.
just rent. Rent's definitely one part of it, but another more important part, there's repossessions, being forced to move, right? Moving is expensive. Once you're set up in a place, especially if you're renting, you're not exactly thinking about somebody might come in and take the property back. You also, all of my clients say, I didn't decorate, I didn't put up the posters, I didn't put up the paintings, I didn't do the stuff I wanted to do and make it mine because I knew this was temporary. And temporary usually comes in feeling like 1 year, maybe 2, and ends up being 5 or 7, sometimes even 10 years, Yeah. And then you realize that for that period, you haven't really fulfilled yourself from a happiness perspective because you've been living in a somewhat sterile place because you didn't want to set down roots thinking that you wouldn't be there very long, and all of a sudden you're playing this game.
Well,
even if you're only there,
there's nothing more permanent than a temporary situation. That's
and
exactly
also,
what he just said.
I've rented paint your bedroom, put up some artwork, hang some photos. Even if it's not yours, it's still your living space. Exactly. It's exactly what you need to be doing. Okay, so if somebody is on the fence right now, they're trying to decide, should I buy, should I wait? I really don't know. I've got a complicated situation. What's one step they can take today to sort of move closer to making a decision without fully committing? I imagine it's booking a call with you, LJ.
So the one thing you have to do today is open up your computer or your phone, go to www.meetwithlj.com, book a meeting with me, and we will sit down and walk you through. It's what I call my buyer's consultation. I will explain exactly what a buying process looks like, what the costs associated with it are, what the timelines are, what I suggest you do in your situation. And even if you're not ready, I like to do this a year, 2 years in advance so that you understand what buying a property actually looks like and what are all the steps involved so that you actually have the information to make a decision and get out of analysis paralysis. So it doesn't matter if you're ready or not. Book that call today.
Do you know what you do after that? You go to www.fredmartin.com and you book a meeting with Fred and I.
To see what you can even afford.
To set up the financing.
Yep, because that's a very important part of the
We
process.
discussed that in our meeting.
Exactly. If you're not sure if now is the right time, give LJ a call. You can go to that website he referenced, or you can just call him directly, 514-500-4040. He will help you decide. Can you text at that number, or is that a landline? You can text him. So if you're a millennial and you don't like making phone calls, shoot him a text. It's fine. This is Under One Roof MTL on CJD 800. I'm Robin Flynn with Fred Pichette and Martin Spalding of Fred & Martin Mortgages, LJ Aguinaga from LJ Realties. If at any point you have any questions for the guys, you can text us at 514-790-0800. We'd be happy to answer your questions on the air. John just texted us, guys. He says there was somebody on the air here a few years ago, financial money planner, said that in the long run, over 25 years, let's say, a person would make more money investing money and remaining a tenant instead of buying a property. What's your opinion, please? That's from John. LJ, what do you think?
So that is 100% correct.
Oh.
If, and only if, and it's a massive if, you were to actually take every single dollar that you would be putting into the mortgage payment, the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, everything that has to do with the property, and investing it. And in my entire career, and every single mentor's career, and every single person I've followed to date, I have yet to find an example of somebody who actually takes the spread and invests it all religiously. So if you are not prepared to do that, because the reality is when you have extra funds sitting in your account, chances are you're going to want to enjoy life, go on vacations, splurge, maybe do some shopping.
Buy some Habs tickets.
Buy some Habs tickets right now. We know how expensive they are. If you're not prepared to do that, then you're not going to have the compounding effect, which is really what's going to get you there. And then that is a false statement.
Because the other way I look at this is that when you buy a home and you've got a mortgage and you're making all the payments, it forces you to save. And it's too easy, as LG just said, to get distracted. Oh, could use a new car. It would be really nice to get out of the cold weather and take a vacation down south. Are you really that disciplined over 25 years? And I'm also wondering if the financial advisor got into capital gains, right? So you do well in the stock market, but as soon as you start cashing it in, it's considered income and you pay taxes on it. When you sell your principal residence and it's appreciated over the 25 years, it's doubled or tripled or quadrupled in price. When you sell it, those gains are non-taxable. So capital gains. So two things. When you buy a house, it forces you to save. And when you sell the house and it's appreciated in price, you don't pay taxes. So I'm not really sure I would put all my money in the market. I would like to spread my risk. So I own my own home. I've got some money in the market. I don't put everything into one basket. I spread the risk around.
And also your rent, you have to factor your rent. The rent of today and the rent in 20 years from now, it's,
even
completely
just the rent
different.
6 years ago, the average rent in Montreal 6 years ago is very different than the average rent in Montreal today as well. Got to take that into account.
Absolutely. And over the course of 25 years, I expect there would be some life changes. You get married, you get divorced, you have kids, your kids go to college. If you have money in the market and you're getting those capital gains, that is considered income. So if you get divorced, now that may contribute to what you have to pay in spousal or child support. So you could be losing even more of that money. So
I just looked at the market last week. I mean, there was so much volatility. I took a bath early in the week, and at the end of the week,
record highs.
I won everything back plus. So if you're ready for that roller coaster ride, I can tell you one thing, though. Every home that I've owned over the last 25, 30 years, when I've sold them, I've always made money on them.
Yeah. That's true. It is one of the safest investments you can make.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about mortgage and real estate insurance. So you decide, I'm not going to play the market. I'm going to buy a home. That's where I'm going to invest my money. There are a million different products out there being presented to you by the bank, the realtors, everybody is presenting a million things your way, right? So how do you figure out what you actually need? So Martin, tell me, what do you actually need?
Okay, so we identified in the ecosystem about 7 different insurance products. So the one that a lot of people know of, I want to start that over. No one likes to pay for insurance until you need the insurance.
Of course.
Right? So we identified about 7 different insurance products. And so we can break them down really quick and we can bounce back and forth from Fred and I. So the first one is default mortgage insurance. That's the insurance that when you put less than 20% down when you're buying a home, that's the insurance that is provided to you. You pay a premium for it, but you get a lower interest rate for it by the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, the CMHC. So what people have to realize is that your mortgage has been insured. It's not protecting you. It's protecting the lender. But without that insurance, you would not be able to buy a home with less than 20%. So a lot of people want to buy a home with 5, 10, 15%. There's a premium to be paid, but you need mortgage default insurance to buy under 20%.
So that one's not optional. You don't really get a say in the matter if you're putting
putting less
than
20%, you don't have an option.
Okay.
Well, the second one is the home insurance. It makes sense. You need to secure a contract on your home. And it covers usually against fires, against thief, against water damages. And also sometimes it could be a natural disaster, depends on your policies. Why do you need it? Of course, if your house burned down, the bank will say, hey, come here, I need to be repaid as well. If you have that home insurance, you're fully covered. And for the people that probably remember, when you go to reach the notary, the first thing they ask, well, not one of the things they ask is, show me your insurance policy to make sure that your house is insured, that's the second one that's very important, the home insurance. It's mandatory. You can go around it, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
No insurance, no mortgage, period. Number 3, title insurance. People get confused about what title insurance is. There's a misunderstanding, but it's extremely important. It's generally arranged by the notary, and it covers things like title fraud, unknown liens, survey and boundary problems, like, is my driveway on my neighbor's land or is it on my land, and so on and so forth. So all those clerical errors that can take place over the years, title insurance covers you for that. So it is something that is not mandatory, but it's highly recommended.
Okay.
Especially if your house is paid off. Thieves and people who wants to take over your property, you give them like the door open, because
fraudsters.
they could take a lien on your property and without you to know. And if you don't have that title insurance to protect you, then you have to fight against them with notary costs, which is title insurance. It's something that people should, think more about it.
Okay. What's number 4?
Mortgage life insurance. So pays off the mortgage if you pass away. As simple as that. Why you should take it out? Gives you peace of mind. So you pass away, your house gets paid off, and there's no stress for the family, no financial stress for the family.
Okay. Number 5?
Well, can I add to that with Martin? Is if you're younger, it's pretty good to have a mortgage life insurance, because the premium is usually it's lower.
Okay.
When you're older than 45, 50 years old, the premium is probably higher, and you're sometimes better off with a personal life insurance.
Yeah, I'll rapid fire the last 3.
Okay.
Mortgage disability insurance covers your mortgage payments if you can't work due to injury or illness. So your biggest risk is not dying, it's losing your income. That covers you. Critical illness insurance pays out a lump sum if you're diagnosed with a serious illness like cancer, stroke, heart attack. And finally, and I'm looking at LJ, rental and landlord insurance. If you own an income property, duplex, triplex, covers tenant damage, loss or of rental income, any liabilities, because tenants introduce additional risk.
So multiplexes and apartment buildings are heavily insured because presumably the owner, the landlord, has some form of insurance. The tenants also have renter's insurance.
Let's
typically.
ask
LJ, I guess those buildings are pretty well covered.
I mean, you want to make sure you're adequately covered.
Adequately.
So all my buildings are covered. Probably I've done the review on mine, and we encourage our clients to do the same. But I've also I've heard of stories where landlords don't have a mortgage and thus they don't have insurance.
Wow.
And I've even heard stories where the landlord's building burns down.
I've heard tenants insurance is much more common today and is often mandatory.
We require all of our tenants to have
It's
it.
very common for landlords now to say you have to have tenants insurance. 20 years ago, when I first moved out on my own, none of my landlords asked me for proof of tenants insurance, so I didn't get it because I was 18 and dumb.
So there's the tenant insurance and there's the complex insurance.
Right. There's 2 different levels of insurance there. That's a lot of insurance. Okay. Quickly, before we go to traffic, what would you say to somebody who's trying to figure it out?
Mandatory default if you have less than a 20% down payment and home insurance. Strongly recommended, as Fred says, title insurance. Optional, but worth considering, life, disability, critical illness, and if you've got a plex, landlord insurance. Because you not only want to protect the house, you also want to protect your life or your livelihood and those of your family around you. So make sure you're adequately insured. Because, as I said at the very beginning, the last thing you want to do is pay for insurance until you need the insurance.
If you have more questions about this, you want more detailed answers, I can see that Fred and Martin have stacks of notes here of stuff we didn't get to. So go to fredandmartin.com, book a call with them, and they will happily share this knowledge and information with you. Wrapping up on Under One Roof MTL, I'm Robin, that's LJ, that's Fred, that is Martin. It is time now for our property of the week, and we are heading to the beautiful Sud-Ouest.
St. Henry is one of Montreal's most sought-after neighborhoods, and 844 Rue Agnes puts you right in the heart of it. This stunning 3-bedroom condo offers over 1,550 square feet of character-rich living, stained glass details, 2 private balconies, a private garage, and 3 driveway spaces. steps from the metro and facing the park, and the best the Southwest has to offer. Listed at $1 million. Call Amanda at LJ Realties. LJ Realties, trusted local results. My go-to eateries in the hood are currently Figata and Sumac.
I love Sumac. It is so
Where
good.
is Sumac? I don't know.
On
Sumac.
Notre Dame.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
Near Hard Knocks?
I lived on Rufus Rockhead in Charlevoix for almost 15 years.
But how many years ago?
A long time.
Sumac opened Sumac is like 10 years oldish.
Yeah,
about.
exact.
I remember when I lived there, we used to go there pretty often.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Fantastic.
It's wild how St. Henry has changed as a neighborhood. When I was a Dawson student, we used the Dome Theater on Notre Dame to do all of our theater productions.
Right. That was recently sold.
Was it?
Yeah, about 2 years ago. Now it's in use again.
It's a heritage site, so they can't tear it down.
Exactly.
Thankfully. My name is carved into the wall somewhere in there.
Hey, I was living down there when Mannion still existed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There you go.
Onions, good meals.
A lot of condos there now.
Awesome. Okay, so where do people go to get more information? Is this one on LJ Realty's Instagram account? Can we see pictures?
The Instagram account, our website, ljrealties.com. It's on all the usual suspect places.
Amazing. I love to lurk properties. There's a house on my street that I'd always heard as a kid had an indoor pool. And I live in Chattagee. We don't have the biggest of houses, so it was kind of a weird rumor. It just went on the market this week, so right away I went to Centris to see if that rumor was true. It does have an indoor pool.
Wow.
I was stunned. And it's like $800,000 for a house with an indoor pool.
Indoor pools are so much harder to maintain than you actually think. I've sold a house with an indoor pool, and the dehumidification system that you require in that pool room, above and beyond all the standard pumps and just general maintenance, it is as cool as it is in theory, and as cool as it is to go rent a home that has these features from time to time, like in Tremblant and whatnot. Actually maintaining a home like that, I remember seeing the bills for what my clients had to pay to maintain and sustain this, and then the system just broke down. They're like, LJ, we just didn't repair it because it's too expensive and it wasn't worth our time.
Wow. Interesting.
Which is not a good investment probably to buy.
It's definitely something that's unique. And first of all, pools don't add values to home to begin with because 50% of buyers are uninterested in pools. So off the hop, it's not a value adder. And then secondly, yes, when you're adding that much maintenance cost to your bottom line, think of taxes or condo fees or kind of landscaping, snow removal. These are recurring costs. If you have an additional recurring cost every single year, that's not helping your bottom line.
You just like that when it's 30 degrees in July or August.
Yeah,
I mean,
nice.
The indoor pool, you like it when it's 30, minus 30 degrees in January, December, and February.
Yep.
Rob, can I bring something up?
Please.
We get a lot of feedback during this show.
We do.
And I think we don't have time to address all the feedback. And I think that it would be fun one day to do this show live.
Like with a live studio audience?
With an audience, and then we could have actual instant feedback. You got a question, you're sitting in the audience, you stand up and you ask the question, and we have that debate live on the air.
I love that idea.
That would be great.
Let's make it happen. Chris Berry, you listening?
Yeah,
Let's make
Chris.
it happen.
Actually, Chris listens to the show. So,
He does.
yeah.
He does. Well, it's a good thing since he's the program director. We want him to be listening.
That would be helpful.
Yeah. Let's get to the answer to our trivia question of the week, brought to you by Felix and Norton. Our question this week was, what is a mortgage renewal? I really appreciate the listener that said it's when you renew your mortgage. Yes, technically.
Love that answer.
We were looking for a bit more than that. So Anna was the one who correctly identified that a mortgage renewal is the process of signing a new contract for the remaining balance of your mortgage once your current term ends. Typically, this is every 3 to 5 years, depending on whatever mortgage you signed. So Anna in Côte Saint-Luc, congratulations. You're getting cookies from Felix and Norton.
You know what? I love that first answer so much that Fred and I are going to pay for the cookies this week, and we'll send that listener cookies for that brilliant answer.
Excellent. I believe her name was Effie. I'm going to go find it.
Track it down,
Yes.
and we will pay for the cookies.
Amazing. So congrats, Effie. You're hilarious, and you get cookies because of it. That pretty much does it for us for this week. If you have a question that you want featured on the show, email us at underoneroofmtl@gmail.com. You can also reach out to LJ, Fred, and Martin individually. LJ, where do people go to get in touch with you?
The best thing to do is to check out our website, ljrealties.com. You can also find us on all socials with the handle LJ Aguinaga. That's LJAGUINAGA, or LJ Realties with an IES at the end. You can also call or text me at 514-500-4040. And if you're looking to free up some of your time, contact our property management company, Plex Doctor, to take over and give you back your time. You can find us at plexdr.com or call my partner Terry directly at 514-709-6397.
Fred, Martin, where do people go to get in touch with you?
Same thing as LJ. Go to the website, fredmartin.com. Our phone numbers are there. Our email addresses are there. We even have a form that you could fill out and just send us an email directly. It comes into my inbox, and I dispatch it to Fred, or I answer it directly, or I send it to you, Robin, if it has to do with the show.
Yep.
But the best place to get in touch with us is through the website, fredmartin.com. Fred?
And fredandmartin.com. And also, if you have any question, you're not sure, should I take variable, fixed, or you want another opinion, feel free to reach out to us.
Excellent. And if you speak Espanol, habla Espanol.
It's funny that you bring that up, because I was talking to our webmaster, and I think we're going to add a third language to our website, because we have so many Spanish clients in Montreal, and a lot of people don't realize that Fred is married to a lovely Mexican woman and speaks a fluent Spanish. So he can service you in English, French, or Spanish.
As can LJ, who also speaks Spanish.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
First language.
If you missed anything, you can listen to this show in its entirety on the iHeartRadio app or on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks to Dean and Master Control for keeping us on track. For LJ, Fred, and Martin, I'm Robin. Have a wonderful Sunday. Go Habs, go!
Yes.